What's up, guys? This is the Voodoo Doll from Noir Grimoire. Today I'm talking to you about enchanting jewelry and talismans. I had a really good question from Maya. She wrote me and asked, can you enchant jewelry or is it just fiction? So of course you can, and no, it is not fiction. So I want to show you two ways that you can create talismans and that you can actually charge your spells and enhance your spell work even if you're not charging jewelry. So the first way is the expensive way, using machine, because I'm a huge nerd. Any of you that have ever emailed back and forth with me, I'm always talking about science and psionics, radionics, and things like that. Those are the things that I use. I'm always about cutting edge technology and old technology and new ways. And then there's also the rudimentary way, which is just, supplies that you have at home. So first let's talk about what a talisman is. A talisman is a piece of jewelry that you have magically enchanted. So if you were trying to enchant a piece of jewelry with a particular demon or deity, or if you're trying to enchant something to be like a money talisman for you, it attracts money for you. You don't necessarily have to attach a demon to it, but you want to attach a frequency to it. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. One of the ways is using radionics. I talk about this all the time. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing that word, but this is my radionics machine. It is a ridiculously expensive little plastic box. There's tons of tutorials about these machines and what they do and about the science behind it on YouTube. I don't need to go into that too deeply. Go ahead and Google that or YouTube that. But I couldn't figure out how to make this on my own, so I had to cave and just spend the money to buy one, and I don't regret it. It was expensive, but it was really worth it. So what this thing does, this little box does, is it amplifies radio waves or sound waves. It creates energy, subtle energy, and charges it into whatever you put on the plates. So you have these two plates here. You have one, it's called the trend and the witness. So the trend plate is what you're trying to copy, and the witness plate is what you're trying to copy that into. So to give you a better idea, they use this in agriculture as well. They've done experiments where they were trying to heal failing crops, and they were able to heal the failing crops by putting some of the crops that were dying here and then putting healthy crops here and zapping that energy over to here, and it affected the whole entire crop. They've also been able to kill bugs. I think it was, I forgot how many miles away, that were eating a crop, and they did the experiment where they put some of the bugs here and then they put something here, I forgot what it was, and it killed all the bugs remotely that were in that crop. So it really does work. These are copper, and it has copper. I don't know if these are copper or brass. They might be copper or brass, but it runs on Oregon energy, which is chi. So that's like your life force energy. So inside of this box, it has some crystals. It's also electronic, so it has a little plug. You plug it into the wall, and then you turn it on. My cord isn't long enough to plug it in. It doesn't do anything or make any sounds when it's plugged in. This light just blinks. So if you were trying to charge a talisman, I use sound when charging talismans, and I'll show you how I do that. So if I were trying to charge this nifty, beautiful necklace I have, say I wanted to create a talisman to Satan with this one. If you had the Radionics machine, then you would go ahead and put it here on this plate, and then it's very cool, you can plug your iPhone into this and play it through this. And what I would do is I would just play the ends of Satan for like 8 hours. You can program it to as long as you want into this and dedicate that to Satan if that's what I wanted to do, and with a specific purpose, like what Satan means to me. So if you believe that Satan is damnation and hellfire, then that's fine. Then that's what the energy that you would put into that. So you can also play songs that represent that. Angry death metal music, whatever makes you think of Satan, you can go ahead and play that on your iPhone, plug it in here, put it on the plate, and charge it with that. and that charges that. And that's how you can use sound to do that using the Radionics machine. If you weren't using sound, you can use pictures. So if you had, if you wanted to, again, dedicate this to Satan and create a talisman to Satan, put this here, a picture of the sigil of Satan, and then you go ahead and you find the frequency for that. It's a little bit trickier. Not going to go into it too much. You use the dials, and there's a whole system to it. If you Google it, or YouTube it, it'll show you how to do it. You have to use this plate. You rub your finger on this plate and turn the dial until your finger sticks. And when your finger sticks, whatever number this is on is the frequency, and you do that 6 times, and then you have that frequency for that sigil that you're trying to put in here. It's a little tricky, but it's super simple. And that's how I would do that using my Radionics machine. But if I did not have a Radionics machine, which I didn't always, a box, a regular old box lined with tin foil as a conductor, I would put this necklace in here. And then I don't think that you could be without your phone for 8 hours. That's why I'm saying an old iPod. I don't know if anyone still has these, but what I would do is I would even line the top of this box. I'd drop these little earphones in the box, close it up. I've got the necklace in here, and I would go ahead and, load this with the ends, whatever music I wanted to play, a playlist of things that I wanted to put in this. You can even record yourself speaking. Like, this talisman is to serve me. It's, tell it what you want it to do, and you can record that and put it in a playlist as well, and put that on repeat and play that in this little box that you have. Very rudimentary, but it does work. And then you would have a charged talisman. So it's just about belief for one. If you don't believe, it's not going to work. You can sit here all day long and play around with this stuff, but if you don't believe it, it's not going to work at all. Now I have here my sigil to Lucifer here. So if I wanted to charge this one, and I want this one for love and light and enlightenment and all those wonderful things that come along with Lucifer, you could go through the same thing with this. Put this in the box and play your playlist to this with things that represent Lucifer to you. Also, there was a study that I love. It's Dr. Emoto did a study about how words affect water and how music affects water. So writing even words inside of this box, if you were to write words on top of the lid, and then have your foil, things that, affirmations or sigils or whatever you want, and put that in there, that works as well too. He did a really awesome study where he wrote words on bottles of water, and it changed the molecules of water, and then played certain music to water, and it changed the molecules under a microscope depending on what he was playing. So if he was playing happy, loving music that had a certain frequency to it, it formed beautiful, like snowflake type molecules in the water. But when he looked at it and it was like, evil music or bad words or things like "you're so ugly," they would play sayings to it as well, and the molecules would look deformed almost. So sound really, really does matter, and even words. They've done experiments where they've just written words on water jugs and then just left the water in the jug and then go back and look at it, and the molecules did change. So writing words on things in boxes and things that you keep your talismans in is a good way to keep them charged. If you wanted to have a little box that just had words, affirmations, and sayings in it that you always kept that talisman in, that's a good way to keep it charged as well. So that's sound and charging items. I also wanted to let you know that you can also use sound in your spells. If you are trying to, if you're doing some baneful work and you're trying to curse someone and say all you have is their business card, this person doesn't deserve to be cursed. He's probably a really nice guy. I don't even know where I got this card from, but it's the only one I have. So if you had their business card and you were trying to do just your rudimentary whatever, and you put this card in here and you went ahead and put your playlist on, of what represents musically what you want to manifest to this person. So if you're trying to curse this person, I would probably play, I don't know, Down with the Sickness or something. I'll repeat for, 8 hours in a row and say my spell, my whatever over this, and start playing that to this, and you would see results from that as well. It's like charging it, creating thought forms and attaching it to this card. Then I would go ahead and use this card in my ritual. I could put this card in my voodoo doll. I could put this card in a jar. I could burn this card. I could bury it. Whatever type of ritual I wanted to do after I charged this card. It doesn't always have to be jewelry. It doesn't always have to be, something metal or something fancy. It could just, if you're cursing someone, you could just use their business card, their picture, print their picture out, and pump sound, create thought forms or sound waves with that picture, and then use your picture in a ritual. Healing, if you're healing someone, print out their picture, or if you have an item or an article from them, and play, you can use the solfeggio scale. So go on YouTube and find healing music, and it will show you the frequency of that music. It's, I forgot, 432 hertz or something like that, and you can play that to that article or item for 8 hours healing, and then use that in your white magic rituals. It doesn't always have to be cursing and damnation. So that is how you can create talismans and create thought forms without having to go spend, a couple of grand on a machine. You can get these cheap, I believe. You can probably find these like around $600, but I wouldn't trust those because I went to a reputable company. So if you're interested in radionics, you would just Google radionics machines, and they should come with information. The information is invaluable. You read this and you can use it in every aspect of your magic. So you learn about sound, frequency, you learn everything when you start studying science, the science of psionics and radionics. So those are two ways, rudimentary and fancy, that you can enhance your magic and create talismans and charge talismans. Oh, ending, I wanted to say, Maya was asking, how when you attach a demon to an item, how do you do it? And I'm just going to say this. Knowing how to cleanse and protect is first. You don't want to do this without knowing how to protect yourself. You also need to know everything under the sun about that entity that you're trying to work with. And also, please get the Christian ideology out of your head of controlling demons and the Goetia and all that commanding and yelling and binding and shit. The control is an illusion. Control will get you fucked up. Cooperation is the goal. It would be like if you had a stray animal and you were feeding that animal and nurturing that animal and taking your time with that animal, trusting you and knowing that you're not going to hurt it. And you may not be able to pet that animal, but you're feeding it and it associates you with kindness, with nourishment and whatever, and you guys are cool. If you got into a situation that animal was around, maybe he may even, attack someone for you. But if you try to chain that animal and beat the hell out of them and beat him into submission or whatever, you may think that you have won. But the first second you have a vulnerable moment and he can see his way out of escape, he's going to fuck you up. Check the circus. It happens all the time. Control is an illusion. You want cooperation. So cooperation is not yelling at something, telling it's going to do your bidding, it's now bound and stuck to this this necklace and it has to do whatever you say. That would be a good way to put this on and get yourself in a car accident and get killed. Don't try to control things and bind them forcefully to things. You want to dedicate. I'm dedicating this to you. I'm giving this to you. This is yours. I invite you into my life through this. I invite you to stay with this. I invite your power to align its frequency with this. I invite you to help me when I need you through this. If I am so worthy, not of, under the name of God and Jesus, I bind you to this and you have to do my bidding. I really don't want to see you guys get hurt. So please give up the whole Christian whatever of control. When you are creating talismans and you're wanting to attach demons to them, you are dedicating, you're giving, you're kindly and humbly giving and not demanding anything. And if you don't know everything about that demon before you try to attach them to it, do some reading and get some education. Learn as much as you can about them. Think about if you were trying to win a girl over and flatter her, you would try to learn everything that she liked, her favorite color, her everything. They're no different. You're wanting them to work with you. You cannot trick or bind something that's older than time. I'll say that again. You cannot trick, fool, or bind, control something that is older than time. Time, okay? The Bible is not older than time. So think about that, about how powerful, ancient, and old these energies are that you're trying to call down, and think of how foolish it is to think that you can control something like that. We cannot control the sun. We can work in cooperation with the sun. We can wear sunglasses if it's too bright. We can buy blinds for our windows and curtains. We cannot control it. We can't tell the sun to turn down when we're too hot. We can't tell it to turn up when we're too cold. We cooperate with it, and we have a working relationship. So please think of it like that when you're trying to create talismans, and when you're trying to work with demons and attach them to jewelry. So I think that's about it for now. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, please go ahead and give me an email. I'll put some links down below in case you're interested in learning about radionics. And then I can also put some information below. I try to find some articles about creating talismans. Maybe some of you learn by reading, because I don't want to write it out, so I'll try to find articles for you as well. So have a great weekend, and I will see you soon.